Well, welcome to the show.
This is our view from the bench.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm Brendan, mop guy for the JV basketball team.
And I'm Corey, court cleaner for the Shuffleboard Club. And happy Monday, man.
Happy Monday, dude. Made it through the weekend. We're only a few days away from Thanksgiving.
Ooh, so excited.
Are you ready?
Oh, dude, that's my favorite day of the year because all I do is not eat anything when I wake up. And I go to my grandma's house. And then I just fill my plate with like a mountain of food. And normally, if my uncle and his wife were there, she'd be like, "Oh my God, that's a lot of food." And I'd be like, "I know, and I'm going to eat it all." And then I'm taking home leftovers. I'm going to eat it for days. It's my favorite day of the year.
Perfect. Well, then that works out. How was this past weekend for you?
Oh, so much work, man. So much work. Black Friday, I'm so ready for it to just be here and go away. The one good thing about it, though, is it's an early game. It's a 12 o'clock game. So I will be home.
Oh, nice.
I might not be home before the sun sets, but I won't be home at 11 o'clock at night or anything. So that would be nice for a change. But what'd you do this weekend, man?
I didn't do much of anything, dude. Got a bunch of stuff done. Got some new tires on my car. Not fun. Just did, poked around the house, made some dog food and myself some food for the week. Went to Costco. Yeah, boring, normal weekend stuff. So,
You know who you sound like right now a little bit, or you
what?
remind me of, is Will
Who?
Ferrell from. He's like, "Yeah, I might go to Home Depot. I don't know if we'll have time."
So true. So true. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, that's not every weekend. Sometimes I do fun stuff, but this weekend was pretty relaxing. Honestly, it's kind of nice, man, just to really not do anything.
Yeah, I agree with you. I did do that a day last week on my one day off. I didn't do a whole lot. I don't think I left my room more than 3 or 4 times the whole day. I was pretty much just chilling. So
Nice. Well, before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that way also hit that notification bell. That way you can see when we have new episodes. And if you like what you see, hit that like button. Well, let's get started with Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football, actually a pretty good game. Finally, some teams that I felt like watching. I didn't watch the end of this game. I got busy, but I actually watched most of the game. Eagles Chiefs in Kansas City. Rematch of the Super Bowl, the most recent Super Bowl. Didn't go the same way the Super Bowl went. Eagles won this one 21-17. How much of this game did you catch, man?
I actually caught a good chunk of it. We had it on at the store while I was still there before I got home. So saw a lot of the first half. Much slower scoring game than I thought, I guess, right? Like I assumed it was going to be more of a back and forth. Me and my coworkers were talking about it like, oh, this is going to be like back and forth. Whoever has the ball last, like it's going to be awesome to watch. And then it just kind of never really got going. But you look at the half, I mean, the Eagles were down 17-7 and just looked lost. I know Jalen Hurts, I think, had I'd already been sacked 3 or 4 times at halftime. So I just figured the second half was going to be a lot of the same. But, it's weird that the Chiefs give up a lead late at home in the fourth quarter and lose a game. It doesn't happen. That's kind of a bizarre thing to see.
Yeah, very true. They had a stat on the screen actually that the Chiefs had only scored 54, and it's to this because they had 17 and a half. They only scored 54 points so far this entire season in the second half, the lowest in the NFL. So basically, they literally rang true today. They scored all 17 points in the first 2 quarters. In fact, 10 of those 17 points in the last 2 minutes. In the final 2 minutes of the first half, they scored 10 of them. So. And after that, that's probably why they were rushing to get it in. They know they don't really do well in the second half. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just don't understand it. It's weird to see, but good for the Eagles, man. They showed up. DeAndre Swift had a pretty good game, 12 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Also had 3 catches for 31 yards. Only guy to really go over 100 yards. Devontae Smith was close, though. He had 99 yards. So just an off game. Yeah, right? Just an off game. Honestly, the more you think about it, it kind of makes sense that it was this low because – regardless of how you might think, the Chiefs have a top-rated defense, and as we know, the Eagles' defense is very stout. Their defensive line is just stacked for days. They just acquired Kevin Byard from your Titans to just kind of solidify the secondary a little bit. They're really good, too. So kind of does make sense when you think about it, but yeah, when you think about the offenses, you'd think that they'd be putting up points at the same time. So, yeah, Chiefs' defense did pretty good, but they broke in the end.
At least more points than this was. I guess I was hoping for like a 35-31 back and forth, but I mean 24-28 would have been nice. Like 21-17 and the Chiefs not to score in the entire second half, like you said, they're the worst in the NFL. That's like a weird, bizarre stat for them. It seems like it doesn't make sense. It's almost like You're lying to me. But I know
Yeah,
you're
if
not. I know
only.
you looked it
Yeah,
up.
and it's like they're missing Eric Bieniemy or something. Maybe I don't know.
That
I
is
don't know.
possible.
There's
I
something
mean,
missing from that offense.
teams obviously adjust at halftime and make some things that they see in the first half and go out and stop. And then if the Mahomes, I mean, well, let's be honest, they should have won that game. That guy had the ball in his hands that he missed the game
Yeah,
winning
yeah.
punt.
There's a
So
handful of bad plays. They could have scored. They should have and could have scored a lot more than 17 points.
absolutely, but this has also been the struggle for the Chiefs all year, like you mentioned. So it's not out of the ordinary. But again, it's a Monday night game at home in Kansas City, and they blow it.
It
That's
was
just
rocking too, bro. It was loud.
well, yeah, it's
It
one of
was
the loudest
very
plays. Didn't
loud.
at one point they owned the record, and then Seattle and them like went back and forth on
Hmm.
loudest. Yeah, so I that doesn't change. I don't know. It's weird that the Eagles won, but also they talked about like, oh, this is going to be the Eagles want to get revenge for. I'm like, what's the revenge for the Super Bowl loss? A regular season?
There's no
win?
revenge.
No, but there's no revenge.
No,
It's once you lost the Super
there's no
Bowl,
revenge
there's no way to get that revenge to that team unless you
unless
get a
you
rematch in the
play
Super
them in
Bowl.
the Super Bowl the next year.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Other than that, and even then, it's a different team each year. The NFL teams, even though we know the same core guys are like the really famous guys,
Mm-hmm.
most of the team is pretty much a change, probably 25-30% every year at least. I would think it's just such an NFL turnover in general, especially with injuries. So yeah, there's no real revenge for a Super Bowl loss. It is what it is.
Yeah, these teams might be a tad bit different. They do have some upgrade. Obviously, DeAndre Swift, the guy on the screen, he's new. He came from the Lions last year. These two teams might be one of the only two teams that if they were to meet up again in the Super Bowl, I think would be probably close, probably just under that percentage, I would say. But yeah, there's so much turnover, whether it's a contract ending, somebody retiring, somebody getting hurt, somebody getting traded. Who the heck knows? But just somebody getting cut. Maybe Ezekiel Elliott is an example of that. He's just like, oh, he's
the
here,
Eagles
now he's
just
not here.
cut a guy from like 1980s that played on the team or something. Did you see that weird story? I don't know what all the some guy on the Eagles got drafted way back in the day. He literally just got cut 2 days ago, and he's like, I didn't even know I was still technically in the team. Like, it was some I don't remember what the details. I'll have to look it up later, but it was some weird bizarre thing that he just got cut after like 20 years.
That's funny. That's so funny. Well, there's a bunch of other NFL action this week.
Yeah.
A handful of games. I think we have 12 other games. I think we counted earlier. So, as we do each Monday, at the beginning of each week, we have our NFL rundown. It has expanded. Corey and I have been talking about it. We were trying to get it into like a little 2-3 minute chunk, but it's kind of too fun to give a lot of information and try to jam it in. So it is a little bit longer. We've seen them more around like 4 or 5 minutes, but I'm trying my best to jam info in.
Man,
so.
it's working good. And if you're watching on YouTube, which, by the way, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thank you. But if you'd like to check out the YouTube version, please search Our View from the Bench. We're going to change up the NFL Rundown edition today for the first time. Instead of just a slide that Brendan made, Brendan took some real time and effort and put some video highlights together. I mean, he didn't make the highlights. He got them from other places.
Obviously.
We'll say that. But he then cut and spliced it into part of our rundown. So if you're on YouTube, you can enjoy the new version.
All right. Well, let's check it out. Thanks, man. Yeah.
For sure.
Bryce Young's rookie season is going to be one to forget. The Cowboys keep trekking towards the playoffs with another dominant win on both sides of the ball. Dak throws 2 touchdowns as Pollard runs in another. Deron Bland gets his 4th pick 6 of the season as the Cowboys destroy the Panthers 33-10. Steelers and Browns going at it in Cleveland. This AFC North battle is extremely important in the race for the division crown. The low-scoring affair didn't lack flair, however. Jalen Warren breaks off a 74-yard touchdown to bring the game close, but the Steelers couldn't muster up much more than that. Pickett does not look like an NFL quarterback at all, as Dorian Thompson-Robinson gets his first career win, watching a field go in as time expires. The Browns take it, 13-10. Battle for the North. Well, not really. Seems like the Lions have that all but wrapped up. However, the Bears wanted to make it really interesting this week. They got out ahead of the division leaders quickly, intercepting Goff 3 times through the first 3 quarters. The tenacious group did not quit, though, and came back to move to 8-2 on the season. Justin Fields rushes for over 100 yards, but it just isn't enough. Lions beat the Bears 31-26. Regardless of the win, the Packers should still move on from Jordan Love. Beating the helpless Chargers is not a measuring stick for success. While Justin Herbert seems to be doing his part, the Chargers just can't seem to figure out the rest. Brandon Staley is on the verge of losing the locker room if he can at least be competitive at home next week against Baltimore. Packers do survive this one, 23-20. C.J. Stroud has been lighting up opposing defenses, as D'Amico Ryan's defense is holding their own as well, and the top 10 defense in coverage. Both Kyler and C.J. made some epic throws for scores this week, and the Cardinals kept it close. They don't look bad with Kyler at the helm. I'm still not sure if he's the guy or not, but better than nothing. Stroud and company hold the lead and come out on top on this one, 21-16. Jaguars were bored and playing with their food on Sunday. Titans rolled into Jacksonville and quickly became prey to the Big Cats. Trevor Lawrence accounts for all touchdowns as he throws for 2 and rushes for 2. I guess ETN needed a break. Levis has a strong arm, and with help and time, might be able to develop into something. Time isn't now, though. Jags win big, 34-14. Raiders held their own in Miami with a team that is poised to win the AFC East. Vegas kept in the game the entire time. Rookie Aiden O'Connell throws 3 picks, but the Raiders' defense turns Miami over 3 times also. Tyreek flashes speed, and Ramsey's return is huge for this secondary. Dolphins keep rolling and beat a 500 team. Still wondering whether or not they can start beat winning teams. They do take this one, 20-13. Tommy DeVito, no relation to Danny, is lighting it up for New York right now. In his first 3 starts, he has 2 multi-touchdown passing games, already 1 more than Kenny Pickett. The story really isn't about the offense, though. This defense turned Washington over 6 times on Sunday. 3 picks, 3 fumbles. Giants should have never extended Danny Dimes, and are paying for it now. They do win this one, 31-19. Guess who's back? Back again. Niners back. Tell a friend. Mayfield is not a bad quarterback, but Brock Purdy was absolutely perfect this weekend. Literally. He throws for 3 touchdowns and achieves a perfect passer rating. Mr. Irrelevant is arguably the most relevant quarterback in the NFC not named Jalen Hurts. Bucks can't keep up with a fine-tuned offensive machine. Oh, and the defense is pretty good too. Niners win 27-14. Bills looking for revenge from week 1. After Rodgers goes down, Wilson and the Jets were able to hold on for the win. Zach Wilson since then has been mediocre at best. This game highlights the lack of NFL ability in this young man, unfortunately. Jets fans should be happy to know he has been benched by his coach, as Tim Boyle will get the nod next week. Jets barely show up, lose 32-6. Seahawks could have really used this win. They now sit 1 game back of the Niners with a home date this upcoming week. The perfect opportunity to take the full lead in the NFC West. Rams did all they could to not let this season be a complete wash. Sitting at 4-6, they aren't contenders of any sort, but a win's a win. Seattle really needs to win next week to have any shot at the division title. Rams take this one, 17-16. Russell Wilson has 19 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions this season, completing almost 70% of his passes. Granted, it got off to a slow start, but the Broncos have won 4 straight now against some big competition. With wins over the Packers, Chiefs, Bills, and Vikings, Broncos now sit at 5-5. Can anything come out of this bad start? Minnesota loses their first with Dobbs at the reins, but it was close and on the road. Denver barely squeaks this one out. 21-20.
Boom.
Oof.
There it is.
Yeah, I hope the video was I hope you guys like it. I hope it helped kind of add some flair to actually watching highlights like you might on those other networks that also do highlights.
Yeah, and we gave credit to those. We didn't leave those off there. Their marks are there.
Yeah. But we had the flair and the fun that you need.
See,
yes.
Yeah, because we're not paid by the big network, so we can do whatever we want.
Exactly. I say stuff that maybe they wouldn't, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I like doing those, man. I like doing those. I know we talked about it earlier. We'll have to talk about it maybe later, but the week 13 is coming up. I know that's your favorite number. We were thinking about maybe doing a little switcheroo. Maybe you trying it out.
Okay. Oh, I like it. Okay.
Yeah. So I know that's, like I said, your favorite number. So
heck yeah.
What better time than week 13?
But it's not.
I know. That's me. I don't. That's like one of my least favorite. I hate that number, but that's why it's like opposites right here. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Like magnet. Yeah. We're going to keep it with the NFL. Kind of going to talk about some stuff. We're going to switch it up. We're not going to dive into specific games. If games come up because of people or stories that we're talking about, then great. But we're going to kind of talk about some NFL storylines this time. The first one that I really wanted to touch on was something that is changing the landscape of not only the AFC North, but the AFC and the NFL as a whole. And that's Joe Burrow going out for the entire season now with the torn ligament, I think, in his hand or wrist. So, we kind of saw that happen on Sunday, but there's more to the story as well. For those who are the eagle eye social media people. Apparently, there's a video of him getting on the team plane or bus with his hand wrapped
Yeah, and
before on his
remember,
way
not
to
only
Baltimore.
that, this story came out yesterday or whatever that he was in, but this was Thursday night's game. Remember, because we talked
Mm-hmm.
about it Thursday night in our last episode. Which again, go back to YouTube, search "Our View from the Bench" or Apple or Spotify, and you can check that out. But we talked about how when he threw it on the sideline to see if he's going to come back, he almost like collapsed on the floor internally, like just like defeated. So you knew it
Yeah,
wasn't going to be good.
right.
But you're right. There is more to the story about how he got off the plane and there was a glove or some kind of thing on his hand. And then people were talking, oh, that was like the glove you wear when you draw on an iPad or something. Like all these weird stories were coming out of it. But
Sure.
why I don't understand why teams keep doing this thing where they're not disclosing the injuries, they're supposed to. And like everything gets found on social media. Just
Yeah, dude.
like stop trying to hide it. It's not going to work anymore. The NFL and the sports world and everything in general is covered too closely by
There's just a
reporters,
camera
people that know what they do,
everywhere.
and even randoms that don't know what they're
Yeah.
doing or aren't part of that world.
People have
So
cameras walking around, 1080p, 4K cameras just walking around in their
exactly.
hands. You see everything.
Yeah, exactly. So stop trying to hide it. They're going to get, fined, I'm sure, taking some late draft pick away. But yeah, now without Burrow, I don't know what what the Bengals do. Like, there's nobody out
Call
in
it a
the free
season.
agency market. So
Oh no, they're done. It's done. Just kind of hope that you don't and nobody else gets majorly hurt. Hope Jamar Chase try to get him some numbers and try to keep your main people healthy. Talk about. I mean, the season's a wrap, dude. It's already week 11, and you. I mean, what are you gonna do? You
you
can't.
got to hope you
It's
lose every game the rest of the way and get maybe a top 8 draft pick. That's, I guess, what
yeah.
you're hoping for at this point.
That's what you should do.
Like,
To be honest with you, they already have a pretty poor record, right? They only have 4 or 5 wins. So why not?
yeah, I think
Why
they're
not
five
ride
and
the
five now, so they're
ride
right
it all the
there.
way?
But if you can get down to, like I said, top 8 or top 7 pick, they can definitely build that offensive line to then protect Joe Burrow next year.
That's what you need, man. That's all you need is to protect Joe Burrow. They already have the weapons. And yeah, if you can draft young linemen, that's the best way to do it. You got to pay them. You can pay the weapons. Like I said, I think Jamar is going to be coming up for a contract sometime
Yeah,
soon because he got drafted shortly after. So
yep.
that's
I
coming
think
up.
it's next year, to be honest with you.
Oh, is
Which
it? Dang,
just
see,
I
that's
think
pretty
so
quick.
because I kind of feel like that was a storyline. Like this is the last year of the contract, or maybe that was one of
I
the
think
other
you're
teams. They
right.
have multiple weapons, so it could be either. But one quarterback who's not going to be playing for the Bengals is going to be Joe Flacco. Joe
It's true
Flacco's
because he just
back.
signed with the Browns practice
Ugh,
squad, but
yeah.
he's probably going to move into the building at some point. He may not start, but I have
No,
a
he's not.
feeling he'll be on the
Honestly,
main roster.
I don't expect him to play. I think he's just going to be a voice in DTR's head to kind of help him through the rest of the season since he's a rookie. He doesn't know what he's doing. And the Browns defense is really good. You can't lose this opportunity to try
Yeah.
to compete. But I don't know if you saw the press conference post game. DTR did talk a little bit about how, like, there was a few times out there on the field that that would have been week 4, he would have forced something or possibly thrown an interception. So he's learning for sure, even though he hasn't been playing for a lot of the last couple weeks. But he's definitely learned a lot. And I think that if he can just do just don't turn the ball over. That's all it is. Like that defense is so good. If you just don't turn the ball over and let everything else do what they're supposed to do, they'll be in every game, if not win most of them. So just do your thing, man.
And that's why you don't have to force it. Like he's saying, it's okay. You have the
Yeah.
best defense in the league.
Yeah, most
Let it
games you're going to
ride.
be probably playing from ahead, if not in a very close game. So just don't
Right.
be the
Like this one.
difference that turns that from a 3-point lead to a 4-point deficit because you threw a pick 6 or something. Just be very smart. And, he played a long time at UCLA, so it's not like he's
Yeah.
never played or hasn't played in a long time. I think he was there for like 4 or 5 years. He was a long time quarterback for them. So, I mean, I don't know.
He has the experience.
Yeah, and now without Burrow there, it's really going to be a 2-team race, I guess, in the AFC North, right? Because the Steelers looked terrible. So I'm thinking
They
it's
have no offense,
Ravens
dude.
and I'm thinking it's Ravens and Browns. Like one of the two of those is going to ultimately win the division. Maybe maybe it's, I don't know. I hope they play the last game of the season or something. We'd have to look at the schedule. That'd be awesome.
We're going to keep it in the AFC North. Since you mentioned the Steelers, there were some quotes around the Steelers locker room after the loss to the Browns that day. Najee Harris was basically quoted saying he's, quote, tired of the Steelers' offensive struggles. Kenny Pickett cannot move the ball. Again, Tommy DeVito, who I never knew existed until about 12 hours ago, has more multi-touchdown games in his NFL career than Kenny Pickett. He has 3 starts. He has 2 multi-touchdown games. Kenny Pickett's been playing for a season and a half.
Oh,
He hasn't thrown for more than 1 touchdown once.
See, now this is part
That's
of
a
the
problem.
problem with the Steelers always being good and competitive. Not that they don't know how to draft, but you're never going to get a really good quarterback high in the draft because you're always going to be on the back half, if not in the 20 to 25 range, always
Mm-hmm.
competing and being in a playoff spot.
Yep.
So, and they never, I mean, they're not going to tear it down and rebuild. That's not what the Steelers do. And that's not what Tomlin's all about. So they're going to play hard and they're going to go 500 or better every year and they're just going to have to figure it out. But also, I don't know if anybody free agent wise is really worth it, and then for them to look at and bring in next year because man, it is rough. It's almost as bad as the Jets like offense with Zach Wilson. It's kind of in that realm.
Yeah, and the Jets. Luckily, I mean, well, luckily for the rest of the Jets players, they're so sick and tired of being good. Well, I mean, they got blown out by the Bills, so that game wasn't that close. But
Yeah,
the Jets defense, I'm assuming special teams. I don't know. Who cares? Nobody pays attention to them. Jets defense is really good. So the fact that they are even in some of these games and still have a chance at like a winning record
yeah,
is pretty insane. But the Jets finally did what they should have done a long time ago and officially benched Zach Wilson.
yep.
He is not going to be starting next game, and it will be Tim Boyle on Friday night. They're having
Oh
a first
yeah, Black
ever
Friday,
Black Friday game. Jets Dolphins, Tim Boyle versus Tyreek Hill, and Tua Tagovailoa.
dude.
That's going to be nuts.
It's gonna be good. But not only that, did you see that? Not only did Zach Wilson get not to start anymore. He's the third string now. They've
Oh,
moved
wow.
Trevor
He got demoted
Simeon
there,
a
huh?
move above him. So if
Nice.
he
Good for him.
dresses at all on Sunday or Friday, I'm sorry, he will be the third string quarterback. That makes it so much
Wow.
worse. Like they're just like, no, you know what, Simeon, who hasn't played and I don't even know how long, he's better than you. You can go sit down and just chill over there.
Well, dude, it's all the team doesn't have any confidence. It's not
No,
even
they
like
don't. They
maybe,
have
in
no.
my
Yeah,
opinion, it may not even be that Zach Wilson is not as good as Trevor Simeon, right? They're probably equal. If maybe Zach Wilson has a little more talent, but there's zero confidence. The team cannot stand when he is at behind the center
yep,
because they just don't feel like they have a chance to win, and that's never good when you have a group of guys that try their best, but it doesn't matter because as long as that guy's here, or at least they feel that
yeah,
as long as that guy's here, they're not going to win.
yep. I mean,
That's
it's
not
hard not
good.
to feel that way when it happens over and over and over, right? Like, how can you keep doing the
Yeah.
same thing over and over and expect a different result? That means you're crazy. Can't do
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what the Jets were, at least for now. Robert Sala
that.
finally changed it and is going to go with Tim Boyle. Someone who's the opposite of Zach Wilson, or definitely portrayed it Sunday. I kind of touched in it in my little rundown. Brock Purdy, man. Perfect passer rating game. First person to do it in the Niners uniform, I believe, since Joe Montana.
Dang.
Maybe it was Steve Young, but I think it was Joe
No, I think
Montana.
Montana. I think you're right. I kind of vaguely remember being Montana, but that's a long time ago. So,
That's what I'm saying. They've had some decent quarterbacks like Steve Young in that
yeah.
time frame. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he did that, 3 touchdowns, I think he only had 4 or 5 incompletions, a couple 100 yards. So great game. Niners are rolling
Like,
back on track.
like we talked about, when they're healthy and they got that O line and all the weapons to work, Purdy is great. It's so it's so crazy how important not only the quarterback but the system and the players around him are to like their entire success. Like Brady was really good, but he also had a lot of different guys coming and going that were different weapons but did their job. And like the Niners, man, that is a fine-tuned machine of offense. That's all I can say. And then like you talked
The
about,
Niners roster is 100 times better than any besides the Bucks than any roster that the Patriots had.
oh yeah, for sure,
that Tom
especially
Brady
on the
had.
defensive side. My lord, that
Yeah,
defense is. I mean,
nuts. Now they did
ooh,
lose to Funga for the season.
ooh, that does hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, well
That
that
is not
that
good. They lost him for the season.
okay, that's not gonna be good. But you know, they've got a lot of good, smart guys on that defensive side of the
Yeah.
ball. So
Somebody's going to be
they'll,
able to step it up, cover
yeah.
that area. Watch out for Richard Sherman coming back out of
Oh
retirement.
no, 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 no. Okay,
You
it
know
seems
how
like
this.
RG3 on Thursday night. Like, oh yeah, they should call me. I can help them out, dude. How many times is RG3 gonna do that? Has he done that like 3 times now, or?
He wants a job, dude. He's tired of being
We
on
get
TV.
it,
He wants
bro.
to
We
be on
don't
the
have to
field,
keep
man.
advertising yourself on ESPN. Like,
Jeez.
go
Well, hey,
tell
ain't
your
nobody
agent
going
to
to fight
call
for you. You
teams.
fight for you. You know what I mean?
Tell your agent to call teams. What is that guy's job for? Girl's
He's
job,
trying
whoever his agent
advertisement.
is.
It's free advertisement. He's actually getting paid to advertise himself to leave. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Do you think ESPN likes that he does it? Not that they're going to tell him not to, but do you think they're like, yeah, go for it. You're an idiot. Like, that's weird. But if you want to
No.
advertise yourself, like,
I
that's
think
weird.
they're either indifferent or they probably don't like it. That's my guess.
I think it's just weird.
Yeah. Heading back to that Friday game that's coming up. I don't know if you saw, speaking of the Dolphins, the Tyreek Hill, he went for a touchdown grab, kind of got tossed up with the defender this past week. Who did they play? Who did the Dolphins? Oh, the Raiders
The
with
Raiders, yeah.
with one of the Raiders defenders, and he actually comes back down and he catches it. They actually call it incomplete, but it was actually a touchdown, and then they punt it.
But
Isn't that
nobody
crazy?
reviewed it or challenged it or
No,
anything?
no. He didn't feel like he caught it, but in a slow mo, it didn't touch the
Oh.
ground. It pops up and it lands right back on him and never touches the ground. It was a touchdown. But he kind of thought it was an incompletion, and they called it
Well,
incompletion,
yeah, I guess
and they go and they punt it.
if you're the guy who caught the ball or didn't catch the ball and you react like, oh, I don't know what happened, then why would anybody else react any other way? That's
Yeah,
so
true,
bizarre.
true,
It
true.
kind of reminds me though. Remember that one? This is a long time ago. See if you remember. I want to say it was a Monday night football game. I want to say Packers Bucks for some reason, but there's like a play where they throw it down the sideline and the guy tips it in the air, and as they're falling, the ball jumps, pops up, and then the guy is laying down and he catches it, but the guy's not touching him, so he gets up and he runs it back for a
Yes.
touchdown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
he kind of sits there, waits for a second because nobody touches him, and he just fucking bolts.
And then he
Yeah,
gets up.
I
He's like,
do
"All right,
remember
I'm out
that.
of here." And they're like, "Wait, what happened? What happened?" And boom, game over.
Yep,
Pretty much
yep,
took
I do
care of it.
remember that. Yep, I do remember that. Last one for the NFL kind of
Oh,
storylines. This one's not very good either, and this one is honestly getting a little bit out of hand.
yeah, I feel
The
bad.
Chargers locker room is starting to get fed up with losing. Staley, Brandon Staley, however, maintains full confidence in everything going on. You sent me this little snippet of info. Currently, the Chargers have the fewest turnovers in the entire NFL this season. They have
Yep,
7 turnovers. That's it.
in
Okay.
10 games.
Yeah. They're tied for the second best penalty margin, which is minus 16. They sit right now last place in the AFC West at 4-6. They're behind the Raiders, bro, who
It
just
makes
fired their
no
coach
sense.
and benched their quarterback.
Makes no sense. And then not only that, you look at these other stats of like Herbert and different things, like
Mm-hmm.
seventh in yards, third in
Mm-hmm.
touchdowns, seventh in passer rating, fourth in QBR, only 5 interceptions and 19 touchdowns. Like they're doing everything right, but they're just not. And I think most of their games, if not all their games, have been one score results. So I don't know what it is about Staley. And then they asked him. I don't know if you saw this from yesterday's post game press conference. This was fun. Somebody asked him about like maybe is the defensive coordinator going to start calling the defense because obviously he's calling it and he's a defensive guy, but it's not working. And he was very adamant of, oh no, I'm going to call it. Like you can stop asking that question. I'm calling the defense. I am the defensive coordinator, basically. Whatever, blah blah blah. It was just like, man, he's really adamant that it's his thing and it's going to work, but I don't know. The results have not shown well so far.
No, not at all. It's pretty disappointing, to be honest with you. I don't like it.
Okay, but if you had to pick a coach, like who are you looking at from this guy or that guy? I don't know who you even think about replacing Staley with. Like I don't know where they go. It's the Chargers. Who's going to even want that job?
Well, that's the thing, but I feel like people should want that job. You have a quarterback locked up. Granted, he's taking a big chunk of your cap space, but he's on the books, right? So you got him locked up. You got a decent O line that you're building. I think they have a couple of them. Who's that? Slate? No, something with an S. Dang, I forgot his name right now. Great young offensive lineman on a rookie contract still. Tons of weapons around him with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams hurt right now. I understand. Austin Eckler. They got freaking Gerald Everett. They got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. And what are they? Well, that's a job that people should want. I agree with you that it's something wrong, but on paper, that's something that people should be jumping at. You know what I mean?
I think
I
the
just
biggest problem though is Spanos owns that team, and as long as he
yeah.
does, nothing's ever going to go. And you talk about like they have Eckler, they have this. Eckler's going to be a free agent, I think, at the end of the year. So who knows if he comes back? The
Mm,
Chargers don't pay running backs, nobody does, so he probably won't be there. And then
true.
Bosa got hurt yesterday. I haven't heard any update or what the latest on his injury was, but he had to be carted off. That's not good. Khalil Mack is getting older. Keenan Allen keeps getting injured. He's old. You talked about Mike Williams being injured. Like, what weapons is he going to have next year if his cap takeover is going to be that much bigger and they're losing all these guys to free agency or just getting old and injured? Like, I don't know who's going to
That's a
want
good
that
point.
job.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know, but they need something. They need something. They need an offensive minded coach because that's what works when you have a good quarterback. I feel like that's the combination that you need. I don't know
The
who's
rumor
out
though.
there. What?
The rumor is if Belichick does a mutual part ways in New England, and that the
No.
Charger job became available,
No,
There's people talking that he would be open to it.
bad idea.
I agree.
Just retire, Bill.
Yeah,
Just
call
retire.
it a day. But also, if he goes in there and he can make Spanos actually give him full control, I kind of think I want him to do it
But
because I don't
isn't
want
his
that guy
full
doing
control?
anything.
Doesn't he have full control right now? And he's out of touch.
I know, but I just don't want Spanos to have any control. So if he can
I
go in
know.
there,
Well, then somebody should
I just
fucking go
don't.
buy the team from him because that's the best way to do it.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't know.
that's never going to happen. He's never going to sell that team because the family just wants to live off of it. They're the worst
That's
owners
true.
in sports. What's up with the owners in sports lately? We talked about Oakland last week, talking about the Chargers today. We talked about Artie Moreno too. So annoying. I wish owners were
Yeah,
better.
true. I mean, you want to invest in something, go buy stocks or
Right?
bonds or real estate. You want
Or
to freaking have
not only that,
fun.
if you're going to buy a team and you want to build it up, then build stuff around it. Like Henry, Susan Samueli, who and the Ducks are building this whole OC vibe thing around Honda Center and have signed a 30-year lease with Honda Center. They're not going anywhere. They're building a whole entity of itself in the center of it. So like do something like that if you want that. Don't just I don't know. I hate
Yeah,
bad
go
owners.
make money like that. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Exactly. You
saying. I
can
like
make
because
money on
I
it, but
think
care.
yeah, I think part of it is one the teams that we root for tend to have really good ownership. I don't think there's really been any issue. Well, maybe the Cardinals, but you're not even a fan of them anymore, probably.
Yeah.
But like again, I worked for the Ducks and like seeing such good ownership to like do the right things and like build something for real for not only the now but for the future of the organization and the whole like area. Like do something like that. Then it's all in. But stop owning teams just to like own them and not try or do anything or just like you said just try to invest in it and hope it's something that builds up for you like no own the team and try to win compete. That's the whole point. It's sports.
That's what I'm saying.
Try.
That's what I'm saying.
Ugh.
Agreed. Yeah, but I mean, heading back to the coach, it could be anybody that's going to take that over. To be honest with you, my hope is that it's not Bill Belichick. He's a little out of touch. I can see what you're saying as far as the control part. That would be
Yeah.
somebody who can like push back. So I see what you mean. But I just think he needs an offensive coach. I don't know who, but I think he needs an offensive coach, and that'll be the most helpful thing. So.
Hey, there could be a coach from a college team that spot comes up somewhere. I don't know.
True. Very true. Very true. Could be some vacancies. We do want to talk about some college football, but I have a new game for you, man. I thought of this game, and it's kind of fun to do this. You kind of see this when you go to maybe some games sometimes, or you see it on Sports Center or some other shows and stuff where they're trying to like prove some points and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? I think I want to do something like that. That'd be kind of fun. So I'm going to make you kind of guess some stuff.
Let's do it.
These are coaches in the Pac-12. Okay, I'm not going to tell you the school. They're Pac-12 coaches. One
So
is believed to not do
Washington State
great.
or Oregon State. Got it.
No. We're
Oh,
not to
not the
that
Pac
headline
2.
yet.
Oh, okay.
No, we're not to that. 12.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to give you some stats. I want you to kind of tell me who you would prefer,
Okay.
or if you want to be able to try to guess who it might be. All right.
All right.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I'm not gonna know who it is. I'm just guessing. There's no way.
Okay. You might, because I'm kind of giving you a little bit of a hint. I'm giving you a bunch of hints here. Okay. So the first one, we kind of have their record, their overall record. This is their first 2 full seasons as coach. Okay.
Right.
Of their respective Pac-12 team or teams. The first one we have here went 21-6 in his first 2 seasons. The second one went 18-8. Okay. We have one with a Pac-12 title, one with no Pac-12 title.
Okay.
One with 1 bowl win, one with no bowl wins.
All right.
The first one is 6-6 against ranked opponents. Second one, 2-7. Yeah, 6-6, not bad, right? Second one, 2-7.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm. This one is kind of where I might give it away. Sorry, because it's important to me, and I wanted to make it a point. This first person is undefeated against UCLA, UCLA. And 1-1 against Utah. The second person is 1-1 against the Bruins and hasn't beaten Utah, or hadn't beaten Utah. Could be past tense. The first one also never got to have anybody on his team that was even in Heisman contention. The second one has a Heisman winner. I know I kind of got a little bit towards the end there. I might have given it away.
Okay, Heisman winner.
Which one of these would you rather have? If one of the resumes came to you and you're like, you have to hire one of these people. Who are you hiring?
All right, so I'm gonna guess. I'm trying to think of who's been in the Pac-12 that I'm trying to think of. Heisman in the Pac-12 in the last. Okay, well that couldn't have been Pete Carroll. This isn't Pete Carroll's first 2 years, is it? For any of these guys?
No, not Pete Carroll, but you are at the right school. So it is USC.
Okay,
They are
so is
both USC head coaches. Obviously, that kind of narrows it down a little bit. Before you guess, just based on resume, which one of these are you picking?
well, if I'm looking at it from a perspective of an AD, I want to win your conference. So if you've got a Pac-12 title, that's already a plus.
Boom, done, right? Good start.
If you've been in a bowl game, that's a good thing. So both of them have been in a bowl game, but to win one and not only win it, but against Penn State, I'm assuming it's the Rose Bowl because it's a Big Ten team. That's a
Yeah.
huge win because being in the, what is it, the pride of them all? That was the saying for the Rose
The
Bowl.
granddaddy of them all.
Granddaddy of them all. That's what it was. What was that guy's name that said? I can't remember the announcer now.
I don't know.
Old white guy. Man, I can't think of his name. Anyways,
Yeah, that's 1,000.
then you look at the ranked opponents, like 6-6, like 500 against ranked opponents is not bad, especially if you're in the Pac-12. You probably got one or two of those within the conference every year. So,
Right.
Conference games are harder. So I get that. But 2-7 is not good against ranked opponents. The 2-0 against UCLA, the 1-1, I don't really care. I feel like you said like UCLA is not really that good. So occasionally you lose one, that's whatever. As long as it's not 4 in a row or 5 in a row, I'm cool. And then Utah, that's just a weird one, a random one. I know who the second coach is.
Because of that one.
Yeah, I know who the 18A was. That's got to be Lincoln Riley because the Heisman.
That is Lincoln Riley.
Utah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so then it's not Pete Carroll.
The guy whose job he took.
Is it really Clay Helton? Oh,
Clay Helton.
Gosh. Wow, that's not good.
So everyone wanted to get rid of Clay Helton, but when Clay Helton first got here, he did better than when Lincoln Riley first got here. So I get that he petered off towards the end, and that's why you got rid of him. Yeah, this is our new little mini segment. That's my dude or dudette if we do that.
I like it.
When we do that, we definitely will do that.
Yeah,
and some of them won't be head-to-head comparisons like this coach and coach. Some of them might be just competitors against each other. We'll figure that out. But it's kind of fun to do these comparisons and stuff. So we'll take turns guessing and stuff like that too. But
sure. Wow, that's
crazy, right?
Well, I mean, Lincoln Riley. Let's be honest. Even when he was in Oklahoma, they won a lot of games, but they never won when it came to like the bowl games or the college football playoff. They always got beat really easily because their defense wasn't very good. Oh, shocker.
Right.
Lincoln Riley team not a good defense. That's weird.
You mean when they fired their defensive coordinator in the middle of the season with 2 games left?
And then they got worse? Like, what happened? Yeah. They didn't even look like they cared against the UCLA Bruins on Saturday.
They did.
It was sad. If I'm SC, I'm kind of worried about if Lincoln Riley has lost the locker room or not a little bit. But even if he has, the recruiting class and the way that college football is at the transfer portal, they might not all be there next year anyway, so it might not matter.
Yeah, well, definitely. This basically after UCLA did, like you said, beat SC. Caleb is going to the NFL now, right?
There's no doubt. He can't, dude. I watched that. I think it was the second half I watched on Saturday. He was running for his life the entire time. Every time he snapped the ball, within a half a second, there was a guy in his face, and he was dodging and trying to get through it. I mean, I don't know why you would want to come back for another year and take that chance and get I'm expecting him not to play in the bowl game if they get into one, right? Like, there's no way. There's no reason to.
UCLA's not even ranked, and they lost.
Yeah. So, just call it a day, man. You had no offensive line. No matter how good Lincoln Riley is at drawing up plays and getting the offense going, you can't do anything without an offensive line, and all Caleb Williams did was run for his life. So, also makes you think. Remember we talked about a couple weeks ago in a different episode about how maybe Lincoln Riley follows him to the NFL. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think Caleb's going on his own, and he's out.
Well, I don't know if Caleb gets a choice whether or not Lincoln Riley goes, to be honest with you, right? But this is really where the question comes in, and I'm glad that you bring it up. Does Lincoln Riley even move the needle at USC? Does he do anything? Because it doesn't seem like he's done much. And with his prized possession being Caleb Williams is what not only that he brought over from Oklahoma, but something that he had groomed into a Heisman winner. And before the rest of the season panned out, a Heisman candidate / front runner at the beginning of the season. I just don't see it. I don't know what it. Okay, so Oklahoma's one thing. Okay, but the pressure of SoCal, I guess, is it too much? I get that it's his second season, but how did he get worse? He's supposed to be the recruiting guru. He inherited a team and did well with that. Then he got an entire season of his recruits and did worse. That seems terrible. I thought he was an elite recruiter. I mean, he has arguably the best quarterback in the nation, and a whole year to recruit more players. They went from 11-3 last year to 7-5 this year. They won by one, or they lost by 1 point last year to Tulane in the bowl game, and
that was with
probably not going to
Caleb
make a
not
bowl game.
healthy. So
Yeah, it's not bad, but still. So I don't know. And they lost to freaking UCLA, dude. Unranked UCLA. How do you have the best quarterback in the nation and used to one of the teams? I don't even know who the quarterback of UCLA is. I did know who he was until he got drafted by the Browns and started this past Sunday. So I don't know. It's the worst team that you can lose to as a Trojan coach. That's why I give Clay Helton props that you beat UCLA twice at the beginning. Caleb's not winning the Heisman. You're not winning Coach of the Year. You probably won't be winning a bowl game. Follow him, I'm guessing. Go Bears.
And you said they were 7-5 this year. If you include the last 2 games of last season, that means they're 7-7 in their last 14. Because they lost the Pac-12 title game and they lost the bowl game to Tulane. So that's
Seems
not good.
pretty
And next
average
year they
to
go
me.
into the Big Ten. Their schedule is it's almost like a murder's row back in the day from the Yankees lineup. It is crazy who they're playing next year. And if they come out of that 500 or less, I would think Lincoln might get fired, even if it's only his 3rd year.
That's what I'm saying. He should leave. It just didn't work, bro. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think it will.
Man. You got to think if he's him too. I shouldn't have left Oklahoma.
Maybe. It's kind of weird to say I shouldn't have left Oklahoma. Everybody wants to leave Oklahoma, even people who live in Oklahoma. Just kidding. Shout out to the Oklahomans listening. I know I love Oklahoma too. Never been, but
never been there.
It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to go one day. Couple more college football games to talk about this past weekend. It was kind of a boring weekend. A big one's coming up this weekend and the following weekend. But as we start getting really narrowed down to the college football playoff, Georgia went to Tennessee and won. Washington went to Oregon State and barely won, but won nonetheless. So that's what we needed. We needed them. Yeah, I think they won by a touchdown, bro. That's it.
Oh, it was close. I was watching the whole. I think I watched most of the game, if not all of it, while I was home Saturday night. That was a great game, super close. In the rain, a lot for the first half for sure. It was pouring. I mean, people in the stands were wearing ponchos. It was absolutely pouring. Second half calmed down a little bit, but man, Oregon State had a few chances, and just couldn't get over the top. Washington is really good, but that was that one trip I thought might happen. But now I think they go all the way and get undefeated. They win that Pac-12 title game now.
I hope so. I have to run through Oregon, but I hope so.
Yeah.
We do have a big weekend coming up, though. Pac-12 title game is next weekend, not this one. Ohio State, Michigan, though. This is basically for everything. Winner of this kind of solidifies themselves into the college football playoff. The winner will play Iowa for the Big Ten title next week. They should win that game. They'll be heavily favored, and they should roll as well. So, again, you already know who I'm voting for. Rooting for Michigan. They will be without Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines. They do have him all week. He's not fully suspended from the team. He's just suspended from the sidelines. So practice with him all week, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Weird stat. I saw this the other day. Ohio State and Michigan have combined for the last 6 Big Ten titles because, who's beating them lately, right? They're 47-1 against the entire conference since 2021.
Oh, man.
Dude, they just don't lose in the Big Ten. Hi, USC. Welcome.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to be so bad next year. And not only that, Michigan winning this weekend got them their 1,000th win in program history. That's crazy to think about. That tells you how good they are. I don't know what the next team behind them
for how long.
But
they're the winningest one, obviously. So.
Yeah, first one to do so. That's just crazy. But, they're going to, like you said, this is all it is. It's Michigan, Ohio State. Winner wins we'll go to the Big Ten title game. Winner will be undefeated. And if you're the loser, you got to hope the other team loses in the Big Ten title game. But that's not going to happen to Iowa because otherwise, whoever wins this game essentially is going to the college football playoff in the top 4.
Yeah, they're going to be a 1 or 2 seed, obviously. I say 1 because if somehow Georgia loses to Bama or something like that, they might fall to a 4. They might sneak in unless Bama loses or sneaks in. But they did lose to Texas at home. That's their one blemish on their record. Yeah. So, so really depending on what happens to Georgia, the winner of this game will be a 1 or 2 seed. So it'll be pretty interesting. Georgia plays Georgia Tech this week. That should be fairly easy. And then again, Bama next week in the SEC championship. That's going to be one game to watch for sure.
Oof, man,
you touched on it earlier. Little sneak peek into the Pac-2. Oregon State and Washington State will be allowed to compete as a two-team conference next year. That's gonna be a lot of matchups against each other. They're just gonna
Oh,
just play everybody.
dude, I don't even
What does
understand
that? What does
why.
that even mean?
Yeah, I don't. So they're just gonna play each other once each in basketball at home and road, and just be like, all right, 1-1, and we split it. We tie as
All
conference
right,
champions.
now we'll go to
Like,
the conference championship. Yeah.
winner goes to the. So
Wait, do they
wait
have?
a minute. Wait a
Do
minute.
they
Wait a
still have a
minute.
big? Yes. Do they still have a title? Like winner of a Pac-2 goes to the
Yeah, that's what I
tourney.
was just gonna say. That because if they're a Big Five conference, technically, there's a Big Five guaranteed
Yeah,
spot.
Power
Power Five,
Five. Don't
whatever.
say
Yeah,
big.
same
Everything's
thing.
called big. I know it's
Yeah,
Big 10, Big 12,
yeah,
big
Big 12.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
they
no,
don't
but
have
Power
10 or
Five
12
conference.
teams either. That's the stupid part,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a whole nother discussion.
Big 16.
But yeah, that's a they have to then if it's a conference and it's the
I
pack.
mean,
Oh my
dude,
gosh.
they're just trying to punch their own ticket to the dance already. They're like, one of us is going, dude.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
go.
Either one of us is gonna go to the big dance. Either one of us is gonna win the Pac-2 for the football and be. And then next year's
Oh,
the top
good.
12 teams in the Oh my gosh, could you imagine? That'd be so.
They win. They win the Rose Bowl again
So
because they. Oh my
who are
gosh,
they
that'd be
gonna
crazy.
play next year in football?
Imagine if the Rose Bowl they do it for two more times. It's the Pac-12 champion again, unless they're in the title game against the Big Ten champion, unless they're in the title game, and like SC is or UCLA or Washington Oregon is representing the Big Ten playing in the
And
playing
they're
in the
playing
freaking
Oregon
Rose Bowl
State or
again.
Washington State.
Oh, that'd be crazy. It's
Oh, okay. I'm
basically
gonna have to
all
look into
Pac-12
that
conference.
later in those details
Yeah,
because that is a very, very interesting question I had not thought of until we literally were talking about it at this moment.
yeah, that's so true. Me either.
Oh,
Me either.
wow. Okay, interesting.
Okay, getting away from the pigskin a little bit. It was a lot of football. I love football though. It's football season right in the heart of it.
Yeah.
That's what I actually love about football. I was talking to my friends about that the other day. That's what makes football so good is the scarcity of it. Having
Hmm.
160 something games or even 80 something games. I mean, even 20 something games, right? In a college football playoff or in a college football or 30 games in college
Basketball, you're
basketball.
talking about? Yeah.
There's just the scarcity of 16 used to be 17 games now. It just means so much more each week, you know. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but enough football, enough football. We're gonna move on to basketball.
Woo
I know we
woo.
talked about it a little bit last episode. Check that out if you haven't already. You can hear what we were thinking at the beginning and who I thought did it. I'm pretty sure we should still check the tapes and figure out if James Harden was anywhere near this event. But Kelly Oubre got hurt and hit by a car. But reports have been coming
Weird.
out lately that maybe he wasn't hit by a car because that is pretty random to be just randomly walking and be hit by a car.
Yeah.
Um, but the news that's coming out is maybe he might be breaking a contract. He's seen sneaking in. I don't know how TMZ obtained video evidence of his Ring doorbell, but
Right.
he's seen bringing a BMX bike home. And shortly thereafter, he gets hurt. So people are thinking
Yeah.
maybe he didn't get hurt. Got hit a car. Maybe got hit on the BMX. He's trying to avoid breaking that contract. What else do you know?
Yeah, not looking good at all. Yeah, very strange. When it first came out, get hit by a car, I was like, okay, that's not good, obviously, but he's okay. So, no worries, no issues. But then it got weirder and weirder. And like you said, I don't know how TMZ got his own ring camera. Did he give TMZ his own thing, or did he mess up with a girlfriend or a friend that had access to his stuff that they leaked it? I don't know. It's very strange.
That's it.
But the fact
Yep.
that they saw him going into his apartment with the BMX bike, you're like, okay, that's weird. And then you find out later he got injured and it's a rib. And you're like, okay, that kind of goes with like maybe a bicycle accident or car accident while you were on a
Yep.
bike. And so he's not supposed to do that because it's part of his contract, which when you sent me that and we started talking about it the other day, I mentioned how Vlad Rodmanovich for the Lakers back in the day, he signed a contract. And one of those, his was he couldn't go snowboarding or any of that kind of stuff. Well, on the All Star break, I think he went to Salt Lake City and snowboarded and got injured, but then he told them that he slipped on some ice because he didn't want his contract to get voided. Even though it ended up coming out, the Lakers could have voided his contract, cut him completely. They were totally in their rights, but they didn't. They said, we'll forgive you, but in the future, because I mean, even if you cut the guy, that's other players will think about that when it comes to signing to your team. So it's one of those things like, yeah, it's bad, but it could have been worse, and you're okay. It's like it's not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, man, this Oubre thing is very strange. But why is it with Philly and weird, strange things that happen? What are the Sixers
Philly
doing over
things, bro. Philly things, dude. I don't know. They got rid of James Harden. That was good. So this is just another start. For those who don't know, honestly, I learned this too, actually, about Kelly Oubre. Apparently, Kelly Oubre is a huge BMX fan. Like, does BMX in the off season, loves
there?
doing like the ramps and the huge like mountain biking, like loves doing all that kind of stuff. So he's huge into BMX. Learned that this past week. So that's why he wants to. That's why it's in his contract. That's what. So why would you say you can't ride a bike? That's super random. Well, that's because he freaking loves riding bikes, and he
Gotcha.
does, more of an extreme version of it. He's not like just toting around his neighborhood. He's,
Yeah, yeah.
doing mountainsides and stuff like that. So that's why they wrote it into his contract, because he's a big fan of it. So,
You know
anyways,
what
learn that
though?
about Kelly Oubre.
That makes me feel a little bit better that even though he got injured, he's an experienced rider. Because sometimes you hear
Mm-hmm.
about these athletes who get money and then buy motorcycles or whatever they can't
Oh, true.
actually, drive or actually know how to handle, and then they get into accidents because of it. At least he's an experienced driver, and maybe he just had a bad situation, or he was driving in an area he wasn't supposed to, and somebody popped out of nowhere, and he had to turn, and who knows what happened exactly now at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah.
But still, the
Either
fact that he's
way,
an
he'll
experienced driver
be
makes me feel a little
fine.
better.
Yeah, true. True, true. Other NBA news: the Clippers finally got their first win
Woo!
after the Saint, who refused to move to the bench for the Lakers, apparently goes
Most
to
annoying
the
thing.
Clippers org and says, "I can't wait to move to the bench."
That's not what happened. They're lying.
That's not what happened. They told him and said, "Hey Russ, aren't you excited that you're going to be coming off the bench?" And he said, "What you mean the bench?" He said, "Great, thanks for buying in." That's
Yeah.
pretty much what happened.
I mean, they won again today too, so they won two in a row since this happened. Now they were in San Antonio and they won by like 20, so because San Antonio's on a terrible down skid right now. They're very
Well, all
young
they
and they're
have is
showing
Victor
it.
Wembanyama, and he's 19. So
Yes, exactly. So the Clippers are feeling good about themselves having done this. But yeah, the story comes out that Russell went to the team or the coaching staff and basically said, like, oh, I'll go on the bench. I think it's no, get that out of here. If that's the case, he would have done that years ago on other teams when it was the possibility of that happening. He fought it so much last year and made it such a bigger
yeah,
deal on the Lakers that it basically ruined the locker room for the first half of the year until they traded him, because after they traded him, they all of a sudden played better and freer and more like as a team. I mean, even that video last year when LeBron's like, yeah, we want to beat Sacramento in Sacramento, I think, in their locker room, and LeBron's like, yeah, let's pile them up, and then Russell comes out of nowhere like, yeah, let's keep having fun, and the picture of LeBron's face when
I
he
do
says
remember
that is
that.
like, what did that guy just say? Like, we're not here to just have fun, man. We're here to win games. That's the whole
Yeah,
point. We're here to win. Like, LeBron doesn't just play basketball to play basketball.
yeah, exactly. No, 100%. And I think that's the point. Is he has the winning mindset, and he was actually doing really well with them, but it's just there's too many people trying to handle the ball at the same
Yeah,
time. It doesn't work that way. You can't have that many people trying to play basically, the same damn position, all at the same time. So
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find this stat. Check this out that I found, or that actually Laffy. Shout out to Laffy for finding this for me. Check this out. The last 5 games. This was 3 days ago, so it's before their 2 wins. I think it was just before the Rockets win.
Mm.
Russ on the court with James Harden, minus 36.
Ouch.
Russ on the court without Harden, plus 9.
Huh. Okay.
Kawhi on the court with James Harden, minus 56. Kawhi on the court without James Harden, plus 21.
Whoa.
Paul George on the court with James Harden, minus 45.
Oh my god.
Paul George on the court without James Harden, plus 14. So the
Wow.
lowest of them is a minus 36 with Russ, all the way up to a minus 56 with Kawhi. And the lowest of the
Man.
pluses is plus 9, all the way up to a plus 21. Look at how big that swing is for Kawhi. If Harden gets out of Kawhi's way, he goes from a minus 56 to a plus 21.
That's why I
It's a
never understood.
77-point swing.
I never understood the point of getting James Harden there. One, he doesn't play defense, so that's part of the reason their plus minuses are such in a swing when he's on there, because
Yep.
they're going to blow right by him. And Kawhi and Paul cannot play defense that well for everybody. They have to defend their own guys. And if Harden, they're having to constantly cover up for Harden, there's always going to be somebody open. And I just never understood the point of getting Harden. You gave up a lot of your depth. And I mean, they have, like, you look at their bench now, it's Powell, Westbrook, Daniel Tice, who they just signed, and PJ
Wow.
Tucker. That's it. And dude, you look at Westbrook's numbers tonight. Even though they won, he had 25 minutes today compared to the I think 18 or 19 he had the other night we were watching it.
Yeah.
4 of 11 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line. Like I just
He doesn't like coming off the bench, dude. He doesn't. He can't get into a rhythm. He can't. He just can't. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it, and that's just not what he is. He's a starter. That's what he is. And
oh my god.
but
Can you
since James
okay?
Harden is a system, he's
Yeah,
not
not a
part of a
system
system.
player.
He is
Yeah,
the
just a
system.
system.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks if they start losing again, it goes bad, they just decide that Harden's like, yeah, I want to get traded again. Like that would be the ultimate Clipper
Trade
thing for him
deadline's
to
coming up in
have.
February. If we can go ahead and start getting this going now, I'd
Yeah,
appreciate that.
move me on, move me on. Oh god, I'm just glad that how Perkins a couple weeks ago on ESPN was like, "Oh, the Lakers should trade for Harden." No, thank you. We are
No,
good. Peace out on
no.
that.
You like the other LA better. That's always been your favorite team, right? Yeah,
Oh
perfect.
gosh, Clippers, you're so bad.
Someone who's doing a lot better than James and Russ are doing right now is actually Steph freaking Curry carrying the
Ooh,
Warriors by himself. Now they've lost a lot lately, but he's the only one doing anything. To be honest with
yeah,
you, he actually has better numbers this year. Currently, obviously, that's a whole year's worth of stuff he has to go with, a whole season's worth, than he did in his unanimous MVP season. Okay,
wow.
currently he's sitting at he had 30.1 points per game to 30.9 now. 50%, 50.4% field goal, 53 now.
Okay,
45.4% 3 point, 47.5 now.
God, that's crazy.
90.8% free throw, 91.3% free throw now. He's literally doing more efficient and more point. Well, one more point basically than he did when he won the MVP unanimously.
Wow.
You think he can keep this up the whole season?
No, because they have nobody else to make any shots, so he's going to get too tired
Yeah,
after the whole year. He's going to break down at some point because I think I saw a thing that
unfortunately.
said Steph has made 63 3-pointers this season so far. Clay
Hmm.
Thompson has made 62 field goals in general, threes and twos, the whole season, and he's the second most made shots behind Steph on the team. But Steph's already made more threes than he has his entire total attempts. That's not good. Like Steph's
Wow.
gonna end up running out of gas at some point, and they're hanging in most games, but Clay's just not himself, man. The injuries and everything have come back and finally, kind of crept in there. Draymond's not the same. He's getting thrown out every damn game. It seems like anyway. I don't really care. So it's just like it's kind of coming to an end. I feel like, I mean, Curry can keep playing for another couple years, but at what point is it just all right, man? Like you've done everything. You have every 3-point record in the world. No one's ever gonna break it because no one shoots as good as you, or I
As
don't know.
much as you.
Yeah, there's nothing else for him to compete for except I guess a gold medal next summer with everybody when they go to Paris. That's like the only thing he hasn't done is won an Olympic medal yet.
If only they had somebody like that came off the bench, right? That could like put up like 20 points a game, was like really good offensive player. Um, he even fit in with like the whole mantra of like the Splash Brothers. Like that'd be really cool if like that, like maybe like splash, like a pool, like a. Let's see who's out there that might be. Oh, like Jordan Poole, who can give you
Yeah,
like 20 off the bench. That might be helpful. If only Draymond didn't punch him in the face, you know, maybe they'd have some scoring other than.
yeah,
Again, I'm
but
not a huge what the heck is his name? Jordan Poole fan. Honestly, I'm not advocating, but I'm just saying that's one thing that they did get rid of is
yeah,
scoring off the
but
bench. Now, granted, his turnovers are terrible, but
yeah, but even then, like you see the video now. I don't know if you saw. I think we shared it back and forth on Instagram. Was the video of him coming on the sideline right now as a Wizard recently, and they came out of a timeout, and the coach is like drawing up a play, and Jordan's like taking his sweet time to get in the huddle. He's not looking at the thing the coach is drawing, and then another player on his team is like, "Yo, like look at the coach," and he's like get the f out of here, this is my team. And then another player's like, "Yo, like look," and he's like, "I got it," and he like wipes his face with the towel. He looks up and he's like, man, like he's mad at himself about whatever he did. Then he finally like decides, okay, I'm gonna look in and be part of the huddle, and the coach is like erasing the play. Everyone's standing up and they're breaking the huddle, and he's just like, all right, and he walks out on the court. He has no idea what's going on because he's not paying attention. So I don't know if
terrible.
I think part of that is why Draymond actually did hit him, because I think he
True.
realized that once he got his championship and then he got that contract, like there
Money.
was no turn and pull back. Like he
There's
is
zero
exactly who
drive
he is
now.
now. And so I don't know if that would have actually been a good thing for them to keep him, even if they didn't get in a fight. I think ultimately Poole would have gotten two in his head and not fit in, because that is not how they do things in Golden State. Like they don't. It's
No,
not.
100%. No, it was. I was being facetious, honestly. I was. I mean, even right now, the Wizards are shopping him. To be honest with you, so
Yeah.
I mean,
So there you go.
it's not a. I definitely don't. I don't mean it necessarily,
The
but I
Wizards are
guess it's just
shopping him
that.
already.
Yeah, yeah. There's reports that they're
Oh,
ready to trade him for sure.
oh my
Probably
god.
because that video surfaced and the owner's just like, dude, what the hell's the fuck this guy then, dude? You know what I
Well, I
mean? So
mean, yeah, and then not only that, like you see the highlights of when he's like out there dribbling around. There's guys that are wide open on the three, like, "Hey, yo," and he's like doing all this crap. He throws up a clink off the rib, and the guy's like, "All right, I guess I'll go back on defense." Like he's got nobody on his team that actually wants to play with him, and that's a huge thing when you're a point guard, bro. Like,
well, Kyle Kuzma does. They like throwing lobs to each other and
okay,
shit down
well,
20.
but Kuzma just wants to play basketball. I don't think Kuzma's really caring who it is he's playing with. He just wants to
Nah,
ball.
nah.
That's his thing. But
Yeah.
these other guys, man, you can tell they're getting frustrated. And if you're a point guard and you have the ball in your hand all the time like that, and you're not keeping everybody involved and moving the ball, like they will not continue to play for you. They will just start to sit on the corner and be like, yeah, man, do whatever you want, man. Do your thing. Like we're all getting paid. We all suck because we're not going to win anything. But if you want to, show off over
Go
there, have
dribble
at it.
around in a crazy pattern and just,
Yeah.
shoot the ball up crazy and go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the long run, Poole's gonna really, really. I don't know if he'll make it through the end of his contract. To be honest.
No, I mean, I think what happened with him was just being in the G League and not being good enough is what drove him. So he got a roster spot, but he's making, kind of ass money because he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, really, really drafted high. So he's got to like, all right, well, I want to show that I'm good. I want to show that I'm awesome. Won the championship, just like you said, got the money, just like you said. And he's like, cool. I knew I was awesome.
Yeah,
That's
can't
kind of
be
how he
like that.
left it.
That's not the ideal way or makeup you want to have when you're an athlete and trying to compete
No,
for a long
not a
time for
professional one.
teams.
Yeah, for sure. No, not at all. Someone who also isn't doing so much competing is especially on the
Ooh,
defensive end.
so
Worst
bad.
defensive ratings this season. Check this out. I'm gonna read you 26 through 30.
All right, show me.
Rockets, not a good team.
Ooh,
Jazz, not a good team.
makes sense.
Wizards, not a good team.
Hey,
Pacers, great offensive team. The best. I don't know if you saw this stat. They are the most efficient and best offense in NBA history, like ever, or something like that. Right now, they have the
wow,
perfect. They have a perfect offensive rating through the
but they
first like 10,
suck on
10 or 10
defense.
or so games. Yeah, it's a horrible defense though. They're second to last. The surprising one, Bucks 30th,
Wow,
dead last in the league.
dude.
Damian Lillard for
Okay,
Drew Holiday is really rearing its head again. I know we talked about it a couple episodes ago, but I wanted to bring this up because this is finally coming out. A couple games that you got to give it time. You can see that it's
yeah,
bad, right? But
yep.
now that they have, a
A
good
decent sample
couple
size.
dozen games in the, yeah, you can kind of see where they're standing. It's not good.
Man, that is. I mean, we talked about it even when the trade went down. Like, you're going to lose defensively for sure by getting rid of Holiday. And you're also going to lose defensively by adding Damian Lillard. Like, that's not his thing. So, and I think I mentioned this to you last week when we kind of touched on this a little bit too. I think they should have tried to trade Middleton and kept Drew Holiday. I think that's
Yeah.
what
Oh, yeah,
Milwaukee should have
dude.
done.
Yes.
Because
And that's
if
not
you're
even
going
a
to
knock at
have
Middleton.
right? Because if you're going to have a point guard who can't play defense, then you need to have a shooting guard who can play great defense to cover up that
Drew
point guard who
Holiday.
can't. So if you look at the Lakers, their starting two is D'Angelo and Cam Reddish. D'Lo is not a great defender. He's better this year. He is trying and actually putting in effort compared to years past, but he's not
Which
as
is
good as
good
Cam
to
Reddish.
see.
Cam
No,
Reddish, yeah,
Cameron's a
which is yeah. We
beast
want to
right
see
now.
an improvement, but Cam Reddish is a defensive guy, so that fits well. One can cover the other, and you have AD in the back. With Giannis in the back, there should be another guard at the top that can
Well,
cover
there
up for
was.
Damian Lillard. I don't know, man. Not looking good. I know
I
it's
think they're
Eastern
gonna make
Conference,
a
but ugh.
yeah. I think they're gonna make a huge run for Alex Caruso.
Oh, that would actually be really good for them. Damn, I don't want them to
He's
keep
sub
Alex.
$10 million and an expiring contract. That's easy,
Oh,
easy
is the
trade money.
last year
That'd
a
be
player
fantastic.
option?
I don't know. I'll go look
Because
right now.
okay, because I thought he had 2 more years left. After I thought he had this year and one more. But even if it's not, like you said, it's under 10 million. That's nothing. So I just don't know who Milwaukee has or what their contracts look like. I mean, they're paying Dame and Giannis like 40 each, so I guess they can't be having very many big contracts on their roster at this point. They wouldn't be able to be under the cap.
Yeah. Okay. If he's on the roster on June 30th, it becomes fully guaranteed. But it's a $3 million contract next year.
Oh, yeah, he won't be on the roster for 3 million. He'll be like, I'm out. He'll definitely want
Yeah.
more than that. Ugh. I want him to go to
Um,
Lakers. Don't do that, Bulls or Bucks. Don't do that.
I'm just letting you know, dude. I don't want that either. Did you see the speaking of the Bulls? You see the comeback. There's a screenshot that's going around the internet. They were down 22-1. They had 1 point. It was 22-1. They actually came back and won the game, 102-97. Crazy comeback.
Yeah,
Still
I
sub
think
500.
the three they got to go up 100-97 was Caruso was playing defense, and the guy driving, I don't know who it was, he stripped the ball. They went back on the other side on a fast break, essentially, and Caruso was in the corner, and somebody found him, and he hit the three to go up 197. Like, it was all Caruso on the last play, basically.
Yeah, I want him back 100% too. Right? I'm down. But yeah, I'm just saying, for Milwaukee's sake, that's literally exactly what they need.
Yeah. No, you know it's exactly what they need is a guy like Drew Holiday. That guy would work really well.
If only, yeah, that'd be. I wonder if I could figure out a way to acquire him from Boston.
So dumb.
That'd be good if they could make that happen. That'd be a good pairing. That could win a championship, I think, dude. Yeah. It's a really good idea, bro. You should be a GM.
Hey, man. Anybody out there listening to our view from the bench out there knows anybody in NBA front office? Right here. Hit us up.
Looking for GM. Thought Drew Holiday and Giannis. Good pairing. Right here, bro. Heard it here first. We have one more NBA story before we wrap up the episode, almost. This one was super weird. I actually just saw this article when I was kind of prepping for this. I'm going to read most of it because it's just super, super interesting.
Do it.
But let me kind of run it down. It's an article that I read on ESPN by Baxter Holmes. It's basically that the Knicks are suing the Raptors for $10 million. One of the things I'll get into details, but one of the things that they also is like a little caveat is they don't want Adam Silver to be involved in it because Adam Silver is a friend of the Raptors front office, like close friend. In fact, Adam Silver has previously been quoted that he looks up to the owner as more than a friend, but looks up to him as a mentor.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely
so
bias then.
Yeah, definitely doesn't want him to be involved in anything because again, it's monetary. They're not asking for draft picks or people or to close your door. It's just, hey, bro, this is, and I'll read you exactly what the complaint accuses of. Okay.
All right. Let's
again, Baxter Holmes, ESPN, not my reporting. That complaint accused former Knicks employee. I'm gonna mess up the name. I apologize. Ikechukwu Azotam, who worked for the Knicks from 2020 to 23, of sending the Raptors thousands of confidential files, including play frequency reports, a prep book for the 2022-2023 season, video scouting files, opposites research, and more. After the team began recruiting him as in Mr. Azotam, to their organization in the summer of 2023, the team being the Raptors. The Knicks also accused Azotam, who worked for the Knicks as an assistant video coordinator, then as a director of video analytics and player development, of violating a confidentiality clause in an employment agreement and alleged that members of the Raptors, quote, directed Azotam's actions and or knowingly benefited from Azotam's wrongful acts.
Oh, man.
Last thing, further, the Knicks alleged that the Raptors, quote, conspired to use Azotam's position as a current Knicks insider to funnel proprietary information to the Raptors to help them organize, plan, and structure the new coaching and video operations staff. End quote. That's what the lawsuit states.
Oh,
so yeah, suing for $10 million for like insider trading. Basically, they have like a spy in the organization that they're just getting a bunch of info from the Knicks. The crazy part to me is the Raptors are a better organization than the Knicks. Why the hell do they want to know anything about what the Knicks are doing? I feel like it should be the other way around.
Yeah, I was going to say in 2019, the Raptors won a title. So you're telling me the year after they won a title to the next 2 or 3 years, they were looking into how the Knicks ran things. The Knicks haven't won anything. The Knicks were in the finals in 1998. That was the strike-shortened season of 50 games, and they were the 8th seed. They shouldn't even have been there. Come on. What are we talking about here? Why would you want to take any notes from Dolan and the Knicks besides the Sphere? That's the only good thing Dolan's done in the last, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but that's what the lawsuit alleges. So I guess we'll see how this unfolds.
Why is everybody spying on each other and like getting in trouble for like on sidelines the Michigan thing or the Astros started all this crap, man. If you think about it, ever since the Astros scandal came to light, everyone is watching everybody so close. You cannot get away with shit. It's not happening.
Good.
I mean, look, Kelly Oubre can't even get away with going into his own house without that camera video getting.
Dang, bro, freaking TMZ's just hacking everything, bro.
Watch, we find out it's like his mom or dad that did.
His mom, his mom leaked it. How rude.
Maybe they don't like each other. Who knows? No, I'm kidding, Kelly. You and your mom could be great friends. I'm just joking. It's just
they're freaking fine. Let them have.
I don't want to get an email from the 76ers. So
no. that was a good episode, man. Kind of super involved. A lot of football, obviously, but we try to
Of
touch on
course.
all of the sports. Kind of headlines, as you kind of know. I mean, basketball's a long season. Got to kind of wade through the thick of it. You just gotta
Yeah.
kind of run with headlines. It's not that fun to review individual games. There's just too many of them. But we're slugging along, man. It was a pretty good one. What is this, like 32 or 33?
32. I mean, I guess if you count our short little mini episode for the Diamondbacks going to the
Nah,
World
nah,
Series, but I'm not counting
nah.
that because that was just a little 10, 15-minute thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, so
yeah, yeah.
probably our 32nd episode. And, make sure
Sweet.
you go back to Spotify and stuff if you want to hear the other ones.
Yeah, check them out. Check them out. Well, we're not quite done yet. We do have our good segment. It's Monday.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
on Mondays again, dude? I forgot.
Oh,
I
yeah,
forgot.
it's MILF Monday.
MILF Monday.
Cannot believe a fine woman like this produced a guy like Stifler. Dude! I took some MILF. What the hell is that? MILF.
Man, I love facts.
Yeah!
Hey, guys. MILF Monday.
MILF Monday. All right, bro.
right.
All right. What fact do you have for me today?
So going baseball. Now that baseball's over, we did a lot of basketball and football, so mixing it up. So kind of gives me a little bit of a Tony Gwynn, Greg Maddux feel to this stat.
Okay.
Buster
Oh, so like,
Posey.
damn. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, of course, Buster Posey. Okay.
There you
Okay. I
go,
see kind of where you're
exactly.
going. Go ahead.
Buster Posey, the soon-to-be Hall of Fame catcher, obviously we know, in his career caught 1,093 games. In those games, in his entire career, he only had 27 passed balls. So obviously that's a lot of innings because we're talking about 9 innings per 1,000 games, from 9,000 almost 10,000 innings at this point, and 27 passed balls in all those innings. That's I don't know, man. Like I said, that sounds like Tony Gwynn, Greg Maddux kind of stat. It's just such a small number for such a huge amount of opportunity. I always knew he was gonna be good, but wow.
Seriously. So I just did a little bit of math for you because honestly, as soon as you started saying this kind of stuff, it made me super curious. So I Googled baseball reference says the average number of pitches thrown per team per game is 146.
Okay,
And you said he played 1,093 games.
correct.
So he caught approximately 160,000 catches. So 27
Wow, dude, that's gonna be such a small percentage.
27 out of
It's
160,000 .0001
pretty good.
pass
Pretty
balls.
good. Not bad, not bad. I'm telling you, man. I knew Posey was good. I just didn't realize he was that. I guess, but part of it is, I mean,
.01%.
he won 3 World Series. Obviously, the 10, 12, 14 Giants were crazy, and he was a part of it. Especially in 2010, he came up in the first part of that season and kind of got them going. The worst part, the only thing for Posey for me, and this is like a weird thing, you remember my roommate Nick back in the day when I was living in after college. He's a huge Giants fan, and
Oh, yeah.
the entire time I lived with him before Posey came up, all he talked about was, we got this guy Posey down in the minors. He's going to be the best catcher in baseball, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whatever, dude. I don't care about minor league players. Like, get him to the majors and then we'll talk. He gets up to the
turned out to be
majors.
right.
They go on to win the World Series while I'm living with Nick that year in 2010. I'm like, And he's like, yeah, I told you Buster Posey. I'm like, yeah, I got it, dude. I'm tired of hearing about Buster Posey. So I used to not like him, but once I got away with having to hear about him every day living with Nick, can
Yeah.
appreciate a good catcher and a good player. And now he's part of the organization for the Giants, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure, no doubt.
Yeah. Oh, duh. He's insane, bro. Yeah. World Series, great catcher. Great hitter, too, for a catcher, too. He wasn't just a defensive catcher. He could hit as well. He was scary. I'm pretty sure he batted like hard to the lineup. So
Yeah, 4 or 5, I think, for a while.
yeah, I don't think he was the guy that you just kind of place in ninth because you have to bat him. No, not
No.
that catcher.
Definitely not.
Well, that was a good stat, man. Where I know we do these stats. We do MILF Mondays. We do This Week in Sports History. Where can they find those?
Well, you can always find us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you just want to do the audio version, or if you want to watch the video version on YouTube, you can search Our View from the Bench, and you can see, like Brennan always says, our beautiful faces and the nice things that we make for you guys to see.
Exactly, all the pretty things that we make. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at OurViewFTB. How is your Thanksgiving week looking? I know you already told me you're looking forward to Thanksgiving. It's your favorite. You show up hungry, you eat a lot, and you take a bunch home.
Yeah.
But how's the rest of your week looking besides that?
Not too bad, actually. Tomorrow will be a
That's
long
good.
day for sure, work-wise. But then Wednesday, just working the game Wednesday night. Get excited for Thursday, and get some grub on, and then we'll see how the rest of the weekend goes after that. But what's your week look like before the big old turkey day?
Well, tomorrow's Friday for me. I get to have just work tomorrow. That's pretty much it. Going into the office, we got a little potluck going on,
Wait, you have
so that'll
Wednesday
be
off
kind of
too?
cool. Yeah, I took Wednesday, got Thursday, got Friday, got Saturday, got Sunday. I asked for Monday, but got denied because somebody else on my team already took it off. So that's all right.
Dang.
But yeah, so technically my weekend starts tomorrow. I'm excited about it. Yeah, I don't get to see my mom or dad. They're kind of far this year, but other than that, man, should be okay. We might do, depending on how everything's go. There might be something a little bit different about our next episode. But
We're working
you'll
on some
see that
things.
when we
We're working on some things and details, yes,
exactly.
but
There
hopefully
might be. If not,
Thursdays will be a little
be something
different.
special. Yeah, a little bit different. Something to be thankful. So, but yeah, other than that, chill, man. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you always for seeing things from our view from the bench. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.